Hello again. So this week I came across another winner of a post. This is really disgusting. That's all I can say. It was a post in a Bay Area housing group. The group also has some rules that are, shall we say, questionable at best. Basically what they do is they allow racism. I'm just going to flat out say it. Now, for the purpose of this video, racism means discrimination against a person based solely on their race.
So the original definition of
the original yes, the original definition, not this definition that some Stanford professor came up with that basically added power dynamics to the definition, which has basically caused mayhem when it comes to this term. No, I'm talking about pure, unadulterated racism. This this was an ad for an available room in a commune, which is basically a house with several rooms, and people share the house. Now, when you have these sorts of things, I am totally understanding that if you have a bunch of females living in a place, that the ad specifically says women only. I can understand that. I could understand an ad that discriminated based upon maybe even religion, okay, because of how touchy that can be. But when it comes to race, I draw the line. When you blatantly state in your ad, white T, letter Y, letter T, people, PPL, need not apply, that's disgusting. And that is basically what the first picture of their ad was. It was a picture of a spray bottle, and it said, white tea people, this space is not for you. And like that, U's in a row. And within the ad, it specifically said, it didn't specifically say, it actually used code words. The code word that was used in this one was Becky's. Becky's need not apply. Becky's is a, it's not a racist term yet. Probably will never be a racist term, but it is
a racist term. It's derogatory against white females.
It's derogatory towards white females. And now this group was, oh yeah, this is another thing I can understand some discrimination for is LGBT. I could totally understand an LGBT housing not wanting to be open to cis or not straight, non-LGBT people, because you don't want to invite someone in who could possibly be a real jerk towards you and make your life a living hell. But only to an extent with that, because there are people who are straight, like myself, that could possibly live with you, no problems. But this apartment ad was really shocking to see. And what was even more shocking was when I pointed out that this ad was racist, I actually had several people respond with, people can't be racist against whites. Here's the funny thing. All of those people that responded with similar statements were white. It's like, what? Huh? What? Huh? What? Wait a minute. Didn't we just have a civil rights movement that made things a little bit more equal? And yes, we're always fighting and all that, I understand. But didn't we have a civil rights movement that was against this sort of thing? Now we're being told that whites cannot be discriminated against. You discriminate against someone because of the color of their skin, that's racism. And that's how I see it. And that's how most people should see it. And I'm not saying that it should be dictated that way, it's just that's how it's always been. for a long time. Except now, all of a sudden, we have power dynamics, and white people cannot be, or people cannot be racist towards white people, and this sort of ridiculousness. I don't know if anyone has ever seen an ad like this, but the blatant racism in it was really shocking to see. Anyways, after I pointed out that it was a racist thing, I got called the racist. Me! I got called a hateful bigot because I pointed out this is kind of racist. This is kind of discriminatory, and all of this stuff. And it's like, what the fuck? What's going on? Personally, I see this as more divisive than anything I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know what you all think about it, but it's actually, in a way, it's terrifying, because I'm seeing justification for discrimination taking place. And as far as I'm concerned, discrimination is discrimination is discrimination. It is, for the most part, wrong when it comes to skin color or race. Amber also has some input on it. So here we go.
Okay, get ready for some cuss words, because I don't fucking filter. Okay, so yeah, I saw that and I was like, I got real mad, to put it politely. Okay, so first off, the reason why they fucking redefined it, because that's what it is. It's redefined. It's not even official. It didn't officially change it even yet. It's some fucking professor that came up with this bullshit. Now they're teaching it in the diversity courses. Diversity courses, on some courses it's called gender and ethnic studies, and there are all these like mandatory courses you have to take. So they throw it in there, and basically what I see it as is it's a way to discriminate against white people, to make it socially acceptable. And that's basically all they've done. And anyone with half a brain could see through it, but you get a lot of fucking retards that are easily manipulated. And me, I'm a very open-minded person. I'm very tolerant. I don't have a problem with different races, and different cultures to some extent, depending on what the cultures pertain, what aspects of them. So, they can't label me with racist, even though they do now. And it's all about creating something. It's confusion. They teach it as fact because people take a course, so it must be true, right?
Yeah.
They see it in the media all the time. You see this shit in the media all the goddamn fucking time. And sometimes some of these people don't get outside their echo chamber. They're too media, like what, Salon and Ross, or whatever, Mother Jones,
Mother Jones,
a few of them, and that's all they fucking see. I see it on my Facebook all the time. These people do not even when you say, hey, you're media, if you look into who funds it, they still fucking share the shit all the fucking time. Anyways, so they're creating this atmosphere where it's totally perfectly fine to discriminate against white people. They aren't a protected class. You can go after them. And the whole idea, and I brought this up in a conversation in one of my classes about, what's it called? At the school, when you take in a race, affirmative action.
Affirmative action, yeah.
Okay, so we were talking about that, and at first, to be honest, I didn't really know 100% what it was. And then I found out that they dock points for certain races.
Oh, yeah.
And
they
that
really dock
right
Asians.
there, I had a different idea of what it was, to be honest. So I was like, oh, what's the big deal? Then I found out. And then, so there were some people talking about affirmative action. And they were talking about, it's to even things out. Because back in time, and that's true, you know, some people were held back and they didn't have the same opportunities. That is true. However, how unfortunate that is, you have to start at a level playing ground, which is what we're starting at now civically. Everyone has the same rights and opportunities. That's just how it is. But you have to academically earn it or go through the courses to gain. You can transfer whatever you have to do to get in. So we all have the same rights. When you make a system to quote unquote level the playing grounds, or whatever is going on, or you still think it's a fucking white supremacist nation, wherever that came from, and I'll discuss that later. You are in effect making it so you have a discriminated class, but having an excuse to do it so that they're quote unquote not a discriminated class, even though they are. You are oppressing them. At that point, you are oppressing that class. And even if you were to say, okay, we're going to level the playing ground, what happens when it quote unquote becomes level for that one group that was marginalized? Then what happens?
Right.
You still have a class that does it lift? Do they get priority after that? I mean, what happens? No one ever addresses that, and that's an actual issue with what they're setting up. They are in fact setting up power dynamics. They are in fact doing it. When I took these courses, I saw right through it. You know, they're in effect trying to gain what they accuse. Like, okay, so I took a gender and race in the media. They're saying, oh, white, cis, hetero, patriarchal, capitalist, whatever, has hegemony in the media. But if you actually read it, that's what they are trying to gain. And actually, you could argue that they actually have it now. They have a huge hegemonic, within a few years, you know, it really exploded because of the internet. So yeah, and the problem is they're teaching this stuff to students. When I was taking those courses, in the book, it said everything, like they had all these essays. Again, these were just essays written by random people. Maybe they were professors, whatever. And they're put in this one book for the course we had, just one. And it was all the same shit, and they all blamed the same person. White, cis, male, you know.
Cis white males.
I mean, basically, I know how it's going to end. They're going to blame... And it was true. Now, I say give it a few years, if everything stays on track, they'll actually put white supremacist nation in these fucking, in these essays. That's where they're getting this shit. They're getting this shit from the school. They're getting it mostly from the media, the white supremacist part. But they're kind of feeding it in the courses. You can see where it's kind of seeping in and getting that in there. And it's not that far of a stretch to say, oh, white supremacist Nazis rule, you know, the system or whatnot.
Right.
And that's where they're getting it from.
Right.
And a lot of these white people who do this whole, like, oh, you can't be racist against white people, some of them, I think they're trying to be good people, they're not very bright, or they're just really indoctrinated. And then some of them, a lot of them I think are just are indoctrinated and not really thinking clearly. And have best intentions.
Yeah, you got to remember that they probably do have good intentions.
But I think a few of them, I don't know. I think a few of them might actually be working for the other side. I mean, it is so fucking... I mean, some of these, when you actually look at it, it's like you're either really stupid or you're doing this shit on purpose. Maybe you might have some closeted white supremacists rocking around as SJW professor. You never know.
You never know.
Because, you know, and
That's
then they're
true.
reading that, and then they get the opposite uprising.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I know conspiracy theory land, but shit has really gotten weird.
It's gotten really weird, and it's gotten bad in the last year.
Yeah, last few years, yeah. I would say it's school and
media. Last couple of years, this has gotten really bad.
The last year was really bad. Like, 2016 was, and now 2017, we're experiencing it still, but 2016 was like a hell year. That was insane. Yeah.
So it's like, you know, this racist department thing, kind of just the tip of the iceberg as far as I can tell. You know, I know in England, the BBC is openly discriminating against white people for positions in the BBC. But that's England. England's got different laws than us, whereas we have non-discrimination laws. And yet, here it is, in this site, in this Bay Area apartment site, a blatantly racist ad. If I had put an ad that said... people of color need not apply, or people of color, this house isn't for you, or things like that. I couldn't do that, and I wouldn't want to do that. If I could find... Hell, I've met goths that are black or people that are black that I can get along with just fine. You know, they might like rap, but that's about it. I don't like rap, but I also wouldn't automatically discount them because of the color of their skin. Here's the other thing that's stupid. Being told you're racist because you're colorblind. In other words, when you're first not judging, assessing a person, you don't consider the color of their skin. This is racist. I say, fuck you. No, it's not. That's the opposite of racist. And I do not understand why people on the SJW side are making that thing to be racist. It makes no fucking sense. And yes, I'm swearing. Sorry. What you said you do? What?
Well, I mean, I have an idea. Again, it's sinister, because that's the only way it could be, unless you're a fucking retard and you're really misinformed. There's that. Or, let's think about this. You got ill intent. Which, obviously, the people on top that are spreading this shit have ill intent. And the ill intent is, okay, where do we need to go as a world and as a nation? We need to be colorblind. That would solve all the problems. But they don't want to solve all the problems. They want racism to exist.
I get it.
You have to have racism to exist to fight against racism. Their particular war or whatever is their particular thing is based off power dynamics, so they need racism to exist.
Oh, that's possible. That's possibly... that's scary.
So, there's that.
They just exist for their purpose of existence would go away.
Yeah, their movement. And think of all the movements that wouldn't be making money.
True.
Off of racism. I mean, racism is making a lot of money. Look at Black Lives Matter and all these, anti-race... Okay, there's jobs. And I have the flyers. People are like, oh, they don't get paid to do these jobs. There were flyers all up around the Berkeley area. A few years back, I'm sure they're still there. Summer jobs and how much money you could make fighting racism and all this stuff, fighting for all, and it was all pretty much. So I didn't know at the time what it was. I'm like, oh, racism is a big issue here. I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty. I'll look into activist jobs, and I didn't. And now I know. I'm like, I look back and I'm like, oh shit, that's what those were. They were setting up all these movements. And someone's paying them because they were offering money. Yeah. Pretty good money. I mean, I just say, I was like, oh, wow, really? You make that much money? I don't know if they actually pay that much money, but they sure were promising a bit of money for fighting this stuff. Yep. So people are making money off of it.
Oh, yeah. People are making big money off of it. I think it's a dangerous thing, and when you see ads like this, speak up. Speak up and say, this is not helping anything. This is actually worsening things. And our goal is to, or I thought our goal was to make things better for people, not worse. Well, so that's about...
One more thing?
Oh, okay, one more. Go.
Okay, just one more thing.
Yeah.
I just thought of it. Also, too, everyone gets all upset about the alt-right movement, about the white identitarian movement, which I think is stupid. Because
I think it's stupid, too. I think it's just stupid, yeah.
But guess what? But why is it rising? Why, about why it's even... But think about it. If white people are denied housing and they're denied jobs, aren't white people being victimized? And don't they get oppression points, too? There's that aspect, white people actually are feeling oppressed because in some aspects they actually are, which will give rise to that movement more and more. And there's that aspect as well.
It's a good aspect to end on. All right, if you have any questions or if you have any comments, go ahead and put them in the comment section. And till the next video, so long.